Matt, what will they do?
A lot of debate, Mike, on the radio, back and forth. They've gone with the clean air is better. They feel like they can hold off the 20 and the 6. Tony Stewart's going to come for an air pressure and wedge adjustment. Just way too loose the whole time on that last run. Dick?
Well, Mark Martin has just told his crew chief, Pat Tryson, that he doubts he will run faster on new tires than the tires he has now. Nevertheless, the decision has not yet been made as to whether he is going to pit. Tryson, Jack Roush up there, still talking to Mark, trying to decide what's the right thing to do. How do they win this race?
Larry, Jeff, is there a right thing, or is it just a matter of doing what the other guy doesn't do?
Well, I think the debate is the fact that these cars, they have the tires they have on there, they have about 30 laps on them right now, and we know how hard they're going to have to run these last 15 or 20 laps. Matt Yoakum.
Larry Mack, they've reassessed their ideas. Tommy Baldwin and the Dodge boys, they are going to bring the 9 car, at least at this point, unless they change their mind again, to pit road for tires. No adjustments if they do come.
Well, let's pull our experts. Darrell, would you stop if you're Casey Kane?
Well, he's got more laps on his tires than anybody else. So if he comes, I think if Mark and Neil, well, Tony's not very good. Mark Martin stays out, he might be the guy.
Larry, if you're Casey, do you stop?
I think he's going to have to, Mike, because he has 35 more laps on his tires than Mark Martin and Tony Stewart. Plus, we know Matt Kenseth, Jeff Burton, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to get 4 fresh tires.
I tell that rookie, you've got the lead, you want, that's where you run the best, hang in there.
Jeff, how about you?
I think if you're Casey Kane, it's really hard to make the right decision right here, because either way you go, if you don't win the race, somebody's going to second guess you. But I say you come get the tires. I think the car is good enough. Tommy Baldwin and those guys will make enough air pressure adjustments to where the car will hook up quicker and make a good run. Tony Stewart's got to come because he can't beat him unless he does. I think Mark Martin is a guy that's kind of pivotal. Matt?
Jeff, I just talked to Tommy Baldwin. He says he has no choice. He's got to gamble it. He's going to stay out.
He's staying out, Matt. Mark Martin's staying out, but here comes Tony Stewart and all the rest of these guys. Quickie yellow, so Dale Earnhardt Jr., he can get his 4 tires here as well, but he will have to start at the tail end of the longest line. So our top 2 stays out. The other 4 cars that'll be on the lead lap, they're going to get their 4 fresh tires.
I like this. I think the 9, you can't give up clean air, and I've seen that car last few weeks. It needs to be out front, and it doesn't run bad on old tires. I think that's a great decision. He might lose the race, just like he said, but I think he did the right thing.
But right now, Darrell, the way it looks, you know, the guy's not going to lose anything. It's Tony Stewart. He's 30 when he comes back out. If he beats Matt Kenseth and Jeff Burton off the pit road along with the, well, you see he's down and away already. If he makes these adjustments and get back out in 3rd place with fresh tires on, he's not lost anything, and he'll have an opportunity to really work on these guys.
And I think the guy that really had no choice but to stay out was Mark Martin in the 6th car, because he has less than 20 laps on his tires.
Now, Tony certainly didn't look that good on that restart. He was not coming up through there like he had in the last several restarts. So, yeah, I guess he had to come down, but I think Mark and the 9 did the right thing.
Yeah, I think everyone expected Tony Stewart to come in. Mark was probably hoping the 9 would come in because that would put him out in the lead with tires that weren't that worn. Casey Kane and Tommy Baldwin make the big gamble. Greg Zipadelli did the smart thing. Pat Tryson and Jack Roush for Mark Martin, doing the best they can. Who's made the right call? Gosh, that's what keeps all these people tuned in right to the checkered flag every week, isn't it?
That's one of the reasons I'm glad I became a broadcaster, too.
Well, I still don't mind being a driver, because I could always say, what'd you do that for?
Or you could tell me, that was a great move, crew chief.
Well, now they've got to tell Casey Kane to drive it like they stole it. "22 laps to go."
I just believe by the time Tony, if the tires help his car and he gets around Mark, and by then the 9 will be pretty far out there, it's going to be a really nip and tuck right here at the end for Tony to catch the 9. And the 9's lost a couple of them by a car length. Maybe this will be his day.
Next weekend, NASCAR returns. The scene shifts to Nashville and Pocono for another big weekend of racing action. Friday, Buttonbull qualifying on speed from Pocono, and NASCAR Busch Series qualifying from Nashville. Saturday, final Cup practice on FX from Pocono and the Federated Auto Parts 300 Saturday night from the Music City. Next Sunday, NASCAR This Morning on Fox Sports Net. And on Fox, NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing presented by Subway, 1 o'clock Eastern Time. But before that, before we can pack up for Pocono, tomorrow we'll finish the MBNA American 200, which has only completed about 28 laps, 25 laps before it was red flag for rain. Getting set for what could be the final run of the day, Dick Berggren.
With Pat Tryson. Pat, how sure are you that the decision to not pit was the right one?
Well, I don't know. Hard to hear you, but the Valor Ford Taurus has been pretty good all day long. We could have come and got tires right there, but he's pretty happy with that set. So we'll see what we can go do with that 9 car. Hopefully we go win this thing.
How sure are you?
I don't know. I'll tell you in 20 laps.
Good luck.
Now, as they line up for the restart, the cars 1 lap down can't get around some of the cars more laps down. So that means that Riggs there and Vickers will be starting mid-pack.
Look who's going to be starting on the inside alongside of the 9 car. Mark Martin's teammate.
And of course, that's the thing that Tony Stewart, Matt Kenseth, Jeff Burton will have to really fight, is that inside line of lap traffic.
And the 9 hadn't been very good on these restarts, and I have not seen him clean his tires off.
We can't spend those tires on this restart.
20 laps to go. Who will it be? Casey Kane, Mark Martin, Tony Stewart, Matt Kenseth, Jeff Burton, or Dale Jr.?
Gets a good restart. Mark Martin is a 6, gets 1-2. Tony Stewart's trying to clear that left car on the inside, and he will. Matt Kenseth is bottled up behind 2 lap cars back there in 4th.
Stewart on new tires, 3 wide behind him.
Well, we've seen this before. Yikes.
This is where that Casey Kane, that 9's been so strong, Darryl. You were talking about it up off the corner, especially up off the corner.
Smoker, turn 4. It's Casey Mears. A lot of smoke.
I think that's just tire rub. Cut a tire down. Got a lot of damage. Yeah, he's still going.
And Kane and Martin pull away just a little bit from Tony Stewart, who fires it in
Casey
3.
Kane lost it.
Oh, there's oil. There's oil on the racetrack. Oil on the racetrack.
Mark Martin, Tony Stewart gets by. I think Matt Kenseth may have went up and brushed the wall.
Oh my gosh. I've never brushed the wall there.
Yeah, look, lots of damage.
He's killed that right front of that car.
What an incredible turn of events.
All that smoke from Casey Mears.
Yeah, I saw the sheet metal damage. I said, well, it's a tire rub, but man, he was putting oil down.
How close can you come to your first win and not get it?
Tommy Baldwin is just, he has no idea what has happened here.
Oh, that poor kid.
Boy, Darryl, I'd rather finish second by a foot like he's done 3 times than have it end this way, for sure.
No, he's got to be heartbroken.
This is incredulous. 18 laps to go. Matt Kenseth was on the lead lap. His car destroyed. Casey Kane was the leader. His car destroyed as they all flew off into turn number 3.
Here comes Kane down into the corner, and you're going to see the car about right there. She takes off. Not too far behind him comes a whole bunch more. I think Mark and Tony may have seen what happened to him and got it to the inside.
This will show it right here, Darryl.
Martin and Stewart were just that little bit lower on the racetrack from Kane, and they got through.
Just a little wee bit. Those are coil spring flying down through there. 25, who was having a great run.
Those are hopes and dreams flying down through there.
I mean, you just feel for that whole Evernham organization. They had 2 of the best race cars here today. Jeremy Mayfield gets caught up in that wreck, leading the race, and now Casey Kane gets caught up leading the race.
Kane is now in the front straightaway, come down to the backstretch, come down to the bottom.
See that oil?
You can see the line of stuff right there.
Yeah, that's what it is. Goodness gracious.
You can see it coming all the way out of turn 2.
Yeah.
He did a nice job of not spinning out up there in his own oil.
Oh, well, do you know who is running 4th? Just to know, by the way.
Yeah. How about that? Well, car owner Ray Evernham with Matt.
And Ray, when you look at the drive that this young man put in today, 20 laps from the finish, can you describe the disappointment that you have for him knowing how close he got to his first win?
Well, both guys, our Dodge dealers, UAW Dodges, were good today. The guys did a great job. Don't know what we got to do to turn it around, but just really appreciate Dodge and UAW and Valvoline, Mountain Dew. You know, I'm going to get my plugs in, you know, and Siemens, everybody that supports this. We had 2 great cars today, but, you know, they just sometimes they get wrecked unnecessarily.
You told me this morning you felt like the 19 needed to take it to another level, and they did that today. And the 9, they needed to reassess their expectations, and they did that today as well.
They did. It was really a good team day. We keep having good days, as I said, not getting the results, and sometimes it's not in your control, and I guess you just can't worry about those things.
And for Tommy, you've been in his situation before.
Yeah, it's you know, it's really tough. You get a lot of heartbreak in this business, and unfortunately, both of the teams got it today. But they brought real good cars. They brought winning cars, and you know, again, sometimes maybe a little bit mad, but sometimes just stupidity wrecks a lot of race cars.
Thanks, Ray. Dick.
Matt Kenseth has just watched his wrecked race car go by. How tough is this to take?
I'm just really aggravated. This is a bad time to ask me questions. You know, if I was a fan, I'd be mad. First of all, NASCAR spends 40 laps under caution, you know, screwing around for who knows what reason, if it's a scoring issue or what. Waste 40 laps doing that stuff, you know, of the race that all the fans can see a good race. And then this time a car blew up a half a lap before we got there, and they never threw the caution. They just let it go green until we all drove down in there and wrecked. So, and on top of that, I sat on the front stretch for a lap and a half, 2 laps, never saw an ambulance, still haven't seen one.
Matt Kenseth, tough finish to what had been a good day.
Here's Matt as he climbed from the car. His anger over the fact that Casey Mears had been putting oil down at the racetrack. And Darrell, that's a judgment call. You called it as tire smoke. Certainly it could have looked like that rather than oil smoke from any of the observer positions. And it's a tough call to make when you're 20 laps from the finish. Do you throw the caution? In this case, that would have been the right decision, but it's hard to second guess.
I think even looking back, if the caution had to come out, I think it would have been too late for Casey because the other Casey, Mears, was coming off of turn 4 as they were going into turn 2. So you got to give everybody the benefit of the doubt.
We've red flagged the race for the 2nd time today. We are 17 miles from the finish. Brian Vickers' car appears to be finished, as is Casey Kane's and Matt Kenseth's.
That's about all the cars we got left.
4 cars are on the lead lap. Mark Martin, Tony Stewart, Jeff Burton. Dale Earnhardt Jr. got the free pass on the last caution, so he's a contender on the lead lap. And this time it'll be Scott Riggs in the Valvoline Chevy who gets the free pass, and that frees him from the clutches of Terry Labonte, Michael Waltrip, and Jeremy Mayfield, the other cars that are 1 lap down.
And you know, guys, we've been talking a lot, especially today, about our point situation. Mike, you were talking about it earlier before this wreck. When I look at the top 10 in points, the only 2 cars that have not been involved in an accident is Dale Earnhardt Jr., who came in here 1st in points, and Tony Stewart, who came in here 5th. All other 8 cars in the top 10 are either in the garage or out there very wounded.
Let's have a look at a couple of replays here. This is Robbie Gordon.
That's 3 Hendrick cars today.
Michael Waltrip. Onboard Dale Jarrett.
Just creeped his way through.
You know, there's a story in USA Today the other day about how baseball players will go and rub up against a player hoping some of their hits will wear off, somebody who's hitting well. I want to go shake hands with Jeff Burton. He has snuck through another one. How many has he dodged today?
He's had a good day all day long. You know, he led the race a little bit there early on, made some good calls in the pits, and finds himself sitting there in 3rd spot.
The car right behind him, Scott Riggs, the 10 car, he'll be back on the lead lap. He gets the free pass. He'll be in 5th.
Red flag out, 17 laps to go, and still anything can happen, though I can't imagine what hasn't happened yet.